Hello, everybody. Happy Friday. And today we have the guest on our show talking about miracles, everyday miracle. Today we have a pleasure to have Corey Butler in our studio. Corey, just introduce yourself briefly.
Well, obviously my name's Corey Butler. I'm a high performance mindset coach. So I've got a history in tennis. I came from tennis to tennis coaching to teaching mindset and psychology in tennis, and then that turned into becoming a mindset expert I've applied that to entrepreneurialism and high performance mindset in business and in general, really. So yeah,
that's beautiful. Thank you so much. So tell me more, like, when was the first time that you discovered that helping people out and working with the mindset is something that fascinates you, right? Because we are talking about the miracles, and it's all about noticing what really happening to us every day, because miracles all around us.
Well, I was a tennis coach I've always been interested in this topic from a personal perspective. So I was teaching tennis for about 15 years, and towards the end of that career, I started just to become more interested in the mental side of it rather than the physical side. So the last sort of 2 or 3 years of being a tennis coach, I was really sort of running personal development sessions on a tennis court. So it became very interesting, the people that I was working with, especially children and teenagers. It was really interesting in getting their perspectives, having conversations with them, sharing these ideas, and with my other groups as well. And when I came to finish that, it was kind of just a natural progression, really, just to move into where I am now.
That's beautiful. And you know what? I've heard that a lot of sports players, they actually visualize the game before they actually go into that. And tell me how does it all connect? Talking about our performance and our mindset. How do we combine two to create these beautiful miracles?
Yeah, well, the mind doesn't as within, so without. So what we have inside of us in terms of our beliefs and our perceptions and our feelings, emotions, the way that we look at ourselves and other people and the world, is reflected back to us in our experiences. So this has been this has been used in professional sport for a long time. So professional athletes visualize their routines, their technique, the patterns that they're going to play in the sports that they're involved in, because we know that the subconscious mind can't tell the difference between an imagined event and a real event, or what a real event, a three-dimensional event in our environment. So professional athletes have known for a long time that they're able to create an outcome in their minds that they're looking to achieve before they've actually achieved it on the court or in the swimming pool or on a soccer pitch, football pitch, whatever. And I think that's been adopted in business and entrepreneurialism and just in life in general. More and more people are beginning to realize that we can create the situations and circumstances and events in our lives that we want to experience by first experiencing them internally, mentally, through our imagination and our emotions. And this is really what creating miracles is, isn't it? It's about having a vision of who you want to be, where you want to go, what you want to experience, and creating that in your inner world, getting involved in that emotionally, mentally, and then just allowing that to come into our actual environment, to experience that as a manifestation.
That's so beautiful. Thanks for sharing. And like you mentioned, Corey, it's been like since ancient time, right? People were practicing, people were doing, and even now with the awareness that's rising up all the time, still there are so many people who don't know about it. And sometimes when we introduce these concepts, people are too reluctant to believe in that because our mind, right, our logical mind, the way it operates, like, show me first and then I'll believe, right? But in this kind of field, it works the other way around. First, we have to believe it in order to receive it.
Well, that's exactly right. That's a very interesting point that you've brought up there, because we've got our five senses that we can see, we can hear, smell, taste, and touch, that feeds information from the outside in that we generally take as reality. But we've also got higher intellectual faculties. We've got imagination, will, perception, reason, intuition, and memory, and these are what make us creative as human beings. So, like you say, people want the evidence of something before they believe it, and this is how we've been taught to make sense of the world. But the reality is that we've been taught backwards. It's not show me the fire and I'll give you the wood. It's you've got to give me the wood and then I can make a fire for you.
I love this analogy. It's so beautiful. Exactly right. If you really want to keep up, like to have that warmth, first you have to put something inside of that, a fireplace, right? In order to generate that heat. And it's a great way for people to kind of look and explore. And the way I always say, you already live the life that you're living. Wouldn't you want to experiment and explore and take it to another level to see where it's going to take you? Just have that corner of your mind open for the possibilities, because if everybody talks about it, and especially if people really implementing it, because there is art and science to this, studies to the practicing of manifestation, working with the mindset. And it's all about just getting curious and have your mind open for beautiful possibilities and see where it's going to take you. Can you just remember something from your personal life, any kind of miracle that happened because you were working with your mindset and you were using these tools? And like you said, besides your five senses, you're actually implementing all the other mental faculties.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because everything in the universe operates by the universal laws. We understand this on a physical sense. Like we don't question gravity, and yet nobody's ever seen it and nobody understands what it is. And just as there are physical laws that govern our physical reality, there's also mental laws that govern our reality as well. And one of these laws is cause and effect. So what cause and effect says is that for every cause, there's an equal and opposite reaction or an equal and opposite effect. So in reality, there's no such thing as a miracle, because what we call miracles is really the unknown effects. The known effects of unknown causes. Something just doesn't magically appear, which is what we tell kind of. If you ask me to define a miracle, it's kind of when something just happens and there's no explanation for it. It's a miracle. But when we understand the laws of creation, there can be no miracles, because there has to be a cause for a miracle's an effect. So when we understand this, we can work back and we can say, okay, well, I manifested a new car, I manifested a wonderful relationship, I manifested a dream holiday, a great job, an increase in my income. That was a miracle. And in a sense, it is a miracle. But from a scientific perspective and from a perspective of understanding this from the way that the world is created, it's understandable how it happens, because we have to create the cause for something to happen to us. So I manifested a beautiful relationship with my partner, and it happened really quickly. For a long time I told the story that I was difficult and it wasn't going to be possible for me to have a relationship, or all of the things that you tell yourself. Once I decided not to accept that story anymore, and I started to say to myself, okay, I am worthy, I am deserving, I can have a wonderful relationship. In a really short period of time, I met my partner and we've been together now and everything's great and I'm very happy. And you could say that's a miracle, the way that happened. But because I understand mindset and because I understand the way that we create things, it's not a miracle that it didn't just happen. I had to create a cause within me, which was my feelings, my thoughts, the images that I was getting emotionally involved with, and that then produced an equal and opposite reaction, which brought that into my life. So we can create a miracle in any area of our life by creating the causes. And when we understand that we are the cause, that our energy, that our thoughts, our feelings and our emotions are the energy that creates, then all we have to do is align ourselves with whatever it is. If we want to increase our income, we have to feel more wealthy, more abundant. If we want to have a beautiful relationship, we have to create that inside and feel more loved. If we want a better job, we have to feel more worthy and deserving, and then the miracles come.
That's so beautiful and powerful. And Corey, congrats. Yes, having that special partner in your life, it's so important. And another thing that comes up for me, and I'm sure for listeners, it would be very, very interesting, in terms of a lot of people are hooked up on the time. Like, okay, you unfold a little bit of explaining how things really work, that everything is a cause and effect, right? So although we consider it miracles, but actually we are creating with our creative energy, and whatever we already have in our physical existence, it's already based on our thoughts, based on our words, based on our emotions. Can you explain in terms of like the timing? Because people are hooked up on like, when is this gonna happen?
Yeah. Okay. So when we're talking about this kind of thing where we're consciously creating the results that we want, we have to think about this not so much in terms of time in a linear sense, but time in the sense that how long does it take us to become the thing that we want to see? Because you don't get what you want, you get what you are. So if you want to have a loving relationship, you have to give yourself love so that can be reflected back. If you want to earn more money, you have to feel more wealthy before wealth can actually come, before you can become more wealthy in our daily lives. So for some people, it can happen really, really quickly, because that alignment we can find a way to align to the thing that we want. For other people, it takes more time. It's more difficult to accept the idea of having the thing that you want, if that makes sense. So for example, if you want to have a really successful business and you want to have 100 clients and you've only ever had one client, that's going to be a big gap. To feel that you're serving that many people and that you're making that big of an impression in the world and an impact and being that transformational for people. So to achieve that goal, the time it takes is going to be how long it takes for you to build up those beliefs internally to match with the goal that you're trying to achieve. So if we go back to the story that I told you before about the relationship, that happened in under 2 weeks.
Wow, this is amazing.
Because I think I was just ready, and I was ready to accept the idea. It really comes down to that. How long does it take you to accept the idea? How long does it take you to give yourself permission to be the person that you want to be and to receive the things that you want to receive? So it could be an hour, it could be a year, it could be a decade, but it's the journey, isn't it, as well?
That's beautiful. It just like appreciate every step of that beautiful journey, because not only we focus on what our end result, but we also want to see who we are becoming in the process, because there is a lot of things happening for us, right? Our thinking shifting, our beliefs are shifting, our values are changing. And in the entire process, we become a completely different person, right? Somebody who is resilient, somebody who is with the growth mindset, constantly looking for the solutions rather than sitting in the problems and whining about why life is happening to me, right? We understand that while we are going through this beautiful personal work, we also figuring out that we are co-creating with the universe, and the life is happening with us and through us, and it's like so beautiful. And the way I see it, I say that it's not only, like, don't hang up with the time, because people are so used to see the concept of, okay, show me everything in the physical world, right? And the best comparison I say is, let's think about going to the gym and training our body, right? We
Yeah.
know that if we want to be in shape, if we want to be toned, it's going to take time. It's not going to happen overnight. And as long as we keep training ourselves, we know that at one point we are going to look perfect, because when we come to that mirror, we are going to love that reflection, right? So the same thing with our brain muscle. We constantly train it, and we don't do it like sporadically. We do it every day, right, Corey? We have to be having some kind of routine, something that we are doing every day in order to change our patterns, to change our thinking, to change our beliefs, and growing that sense of deserving, understanding, like you said, you're worthy of that relationship, or you're worthy of that life that you want to attract. So that's exactly how it's done. And obviously it takes effort, but the journey itself, like, I think the most important thing is to enjoy the process, right? Just having fun with that, understanding that you are growing, we are stepping out of that comfortable zone, and we just becoming a completely new person with new identity, with new self-image, and that's so powerful. Can you talk a little bit about paradigms, because people might be wondering what is it and how is it like really affecting our life?
Okay, well, paradigms keep us stuck where we are. So the paradigms are a mental program that runs in the subconscious mind that controls our behavior and our perceptions and our results. And that's essentially our belief system. So it's control. Our paradigm is all of the ideas, rules, and values and beliefs that we've inherited through our predominantly environmental conditioning. And that then controls our perceptions, the way that we feel, the way that we see the world, the way that we respond, the way that we behave. It controls our ability to earn money, time management, our relationships. It controls everything in a person's life is in harmony with their paradigm, because it's essentially that's what they believe, and that controls what they experience. So when we want to create a new result in our life, if we want to have a miracle, or we want to manifest something bigger, or something different, what that signifies is something that's we have to create that change. We have to create the cause inside of us. We have to create a change in that mental programming at a subconscious level in order to change our behaviors and our perceptions to create the new result. So the key to paradigms really let us know that what we need to work on in terms of our beliefs, in terms of our habits, in terms of what we do on a daily basis in order to become, they determine who we are, really. And when we consciously create like this, which is basically what we're talking about here, isn't it? It's about creating an idea in the mind and then bringing that into the world so that we can actually experience it with our five senses. It gives us the blueprint to work with in order to create that change. We know if I want to multiply my income, I know that I've got my current belief system is keeping me anchored where I am. So I know that I'm going to have to look at my beliefs around money and finance and income and working, and that's where I'm going to have to do the work. Or if I want to create a new relationship in my life, then if it's not there, I know that I've got negative beliefs, not negative beliefs, but beliefs that are not in harmony with what it is that I'm trying to create in that respect. So it gives us a start. Paradigms give us the starting point to do the inner work. That's what we need to, that's where we do the inner work. So if you think about your mind, you've got a conscious mind and a subconscious mind. and they both function very differently. The subconscious mind is the emotional mind. It controls our behavior, and the conscious mind is the intellectual mind. It's the rational mind. So when we set a goal, we set that on intellectual level. And then we move into action to try and achieve that goal. But on a subconscious level, there's a good chance that we've got beliefs that are in conflict with the goal that we're trying to achieve. And because the subconscious is controlling virtually all of our behavior, we behave in a way that's congruent with the beliefs and the paradigm rather than the goal. So what happens is we take action, but we procrastinate. We participate in self-defeating behavior. We operate with a negative self-image. It's not in harmony with. We say nobody's gonna pay the fee that I'm charging. Nobody's gonna see any value in what I'm offering. Nobody's gonna buy this product. Nobody's gonna take me seriously as a coach. Nobody's gonna be interested in. And this is all coming from the paradigm. And so with this conflicting belief system, we then create a result that's in harmony with those beliefs. And that causes confusion and frustration, and it reinforces the belief that what we want is not possible. So we go to the objective is to take the goal, we impress that upon the subconscious mind so that it becomes a part of the paradigm, so that we work with the paradigm to create new beliefs. And then those new beliefs empower us, because we say, you know what, maybe I am worthy of this. Maybe I am deserving of this. Maybe people will be interested in what I have to say. Maybe people will find value in what I have to give. Maybe people will be willing to pay me for the value that I give. And then we start to see differently. We start to feel differently. We start to behave differently. And now we start to create a different result, because we've started to change specific aspects of our subconscious program or our paradigm. And what happens then is we see our results changing just little by little. So we say, oh, I am giving some value here. Somebody did pay me. Somebody did show me respect for what I'm doing. Somebody did value what I did. And that you start to build self-confidence, you start to build belief that reinforces what you're doing, and we start to create momentum around a new idea. And at a certain point, that idea becomes stronger, that belief becomes stronger than the old idea, and then we've become that person. And now, because we are that person, the universe, the environment, the world is going to reflect back to us what we are, not what we want. And we get what we want because we created it internally first by changing our beliefs and our perceptions and out picturing that. So that's a kind of a long explanation, but that's really why paradigms are so important.
That's so beautiful. And Miriam says that, wow, that's one of the best descriptions of paradigms she ever heard.
Oh, well, thank you
for that. Yes, beautiful, beautiful. And it just, like give people more clarity and idea how these things really work, right? Because a lot of times, like you mentioned, you work from within, and a lot of times people are looking from the outside. They look at their conditions, they look at their bank account, they look at their education, they look at their age, and so on and so forth, their past experiences, in order to determine what they can or cannot do. And with this work, we know that everything is irrelevant. It doesn't matter. Your past doesn't matter. Nothing matters. What matters is what you truly want to be, and what kind of result you want to create. Isn't it miracle? It is miracle.
Well, I think you're absolutely right. You make a good point that we do look at our environment, we do look at past results to create a reference point for the future. And that's absolutely the wrong thing to do. That's asking for the fire before the wood. I think the first thing we have to understand is that we've got infinite potential. We have to give ourselves credit to if I truly believe that if you have a desire to achieve something, then you have the ability to achieve it. I think the reason why so many people are unhappy is because they suppress those desires, because they don't believe that it's possible, because they're looking at their past results, they're looking at what people have told them in the past and what they've experienced in the past, and they're using that to measure themselves. And we have to get away from that. We have to say, okay, well, my past results were a reflection of my past thinking, but Einstein told us we're only using 5% of our mental capacity. We're not even touching the surface of what we're capable of with our thinking. So the first thing, I think you've made a big step forward if when you change the opinion of yourself and what you're capable of achieving. I think you open yourself up to miracles when you say, you know what, I can do this. I do have the ability to do this. I don't know how I'm going to do it right now. I don't know where the resources are going to come from, but I know that they're going to come. I know that I'm going to do the inner work. I know that I am going to become, I'm going to grow and expand. And that as that happens, the resources are going to come to me. The confidence is going to come to me. All of the things that I need to move forward are going to present themselves as I need them. And I am going to achieve this goal. And when we adopt that mindset, I think it's much easier to give yourself permission than to aim for a big goal, or to say, okay, you know what, I'm going to give myself permission to accept this idea of this goal that I'm trying to achieve, whether it's on a very small level or whether it's on some people want to dominate the world and some people just want to be happy in their home. It doesn't matter like what scale it is, but we have to give ourselves permission and then work from the inside to start aligning ourselves with that.
That's so beautiful. So what would be your final advice for everybody who's listening? Where to start this beautiful work to experience the miracles in their lives?
Okay, so that's a very good question, and I can give you an exercise if you like. The first thing is we have to give ourselves permission to be successful, whether that's in love, whether that's in health, whether that's in finance. It's like the first thing is we have to give ourselves permission to have what we want. And then the second thing is once you know what you want, to write down, to take a journal or a notepad and write down the situation as it is right now and be completely honest. So you can say, I'm really struggling, I'm not confident, I don't believe in my ability to do this, or whatever it is. And what that gives you, once you've done that, that gives you a written description of your paradigm right now, or the beliefs that you have surrounding the goal that you've set for yourself. Now, there's a law of opposites. So this is the negative. We want to bridge the gap between where we are now and where we want to be. And the way that we're going to do that, the way that we're going to do that is to write out the situation on another piece of paper exactly as we want it to be. So we could say, I've released 20 kilos of weight. I go to the gym every single day. I'm healthy, vibrant. I have a love for life. Whatever it is. Instead of I eat too much food, I'm unhealthy, I'm not confident, I hate my body. So, okay, well, now we know your current beliefs, your current paradigm, and now we know the paradigm that you want to create. So now we can start looking at the positive and saying, okay, I go to the gym every day. Well, I know that my subconscious mind is going to accept anything that I give it with repetition, because whatever we repeat to ourselves, we come to accept. We start saying to ourselves, I go to the gym every day. I go to the gym every day. I go to the gym every day. Or I always eat healthy food. I always choose the healthy option at dinner time. I always choose the healthy option. And this is how we start to program ourselves to be the person we want to be, to have the beliefs that we want to have, rather than the beliefs that we do have. Because the beliefs that we do have, we inherited them. They came from our parents, they came from our family, they came from the people around us, our environment. They're not who we are, though. It's just a system of ideas that we accepted. We can as adults say, I have the power of choice. I'm an adult. It's my God-given ability to have the power of choice. I choose to think positive thoughts about this aspect of my life. I choose to have positive beliefs about whatever it is that I want to change. And then we can start to make the changes.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much. So I hope listeners got some interesting insight, and talking with you was a pleasure. And just keep living your life, keep experiencing the miracles, and we'll see you next time. Thank you so much.
Irina. Take care. Thank you very much.